This episode is brought to you by Extra.Fund, a Dubai-based fully doxed DeFi company. Extra has applied capital protection mechanisms and guarantees that were previously unavailable in the blockchain industry. Their guaranteed fund program is designed to compensate you if the token price drops. The fund will automatically match up to 90% of the initial purchase price. Get over to Extra.Fund for more information about how you can buy, stake, and earn profits no matter what the crypto markets are doing. Link in the description below.
This my two Satoshis, who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis, yeah.
All right, hola, G&Gs. I am Trek with 2Ks, and this is a special episode of My Two Satoshis, and it's going to be kind of the same format as far as like, things that are not crypto related and things that are crypto related, but the things that are on my radar versus what would be on Crypto Blood's radar. So I got a couple of stories of some things that have been going down the last couple of days, and again, not crypto related, some are, but there's a overarching story of the whole thing going on, right? And so I'm gonna start off with this first joint right here, which will end up being I'm playing.
We are announcing the following.
Listen to what she's talking about because it connects to crypto.
We are broadening the scope of Canada's anti-money laundering and terrorist financing rules so that they cover crowdfunding platforms.
Here's what she's
and
saying.
The payment service providers they use. These changes cover all forms of transactions, including digital assets,
right,
such as cryptocurrencies.
There you have it. So now, what just happened was, because I know there's the naysayers out there who are like, oh, look, see, the Canadian government just outlawed cryptocurrencies. The Canadian government did not outlaw cryptocurrencies. What they did was say, we can't stop you from using the technology, but we can damn sure curtail the things that you do with the technology as far as cryptocurrency as being a form of money, in the form of currency, and people using it to buy or support what they are calling illegal blockades. And she's talking about the situation going on with the truckers in Canada right now. And here's the irony of that whole situation. It initially started because a minority of owner-operators, right, of 120,000 truck drivers, the minority of them said, hey, it's unfair how you are applying the quarantine rule for when we cross back over the border for the work that we do. 14 days would kill the business that I have. It would kill X amount of the industry. So the funny part of it is, it's gonna end up being a number of jobless truck drivers from this being prolonged out so far. But the point of what I'm trying to say is, the issue was not about, quote, not having a jab or getting the jab, but it was about how they were applying the rule to the owner operators who said, hey, 14 days is a hell of a long time to have to sit in quarantine when you're a truck driver. If you know anything about trucking, especially when you're an owner operator who has your own authority and stuff like that, if the wheels don't turn, you don't make no money. So here you have it. We are here X amount of months later, and these are the actions that the Canadian government has taken. Oh, by the way, this is the Deputy Prime Minister, if you didn't know, who's also the Minister of Finance. I don't know how that works out. I'm not Canadian. Shout out to my Canucks to the north, by the way, though. So here you have it, that they could not outlaw or stop the use of the technology, but they can outlaw the things that you support with the technology or fund with the technology. And in my opinion, in this particular scenario, I think that this was the government covering the ass of the banks, the crowdfunding platforms, and other financial institutions who they had already in private conversation gave the word out to, like, yo, you could freeze accounts. Yo, you don't got to give them their money. Hey, you need to send the money over this way. I think this is the way that they were publicly covering the ass of those companies. Because if you listen to the rest of what she says about what the banks can do, look at what TD Bank did. TD Bank has a large footprint in Canada, and they were one of the companies that held people's money. GoFundMe is a crowdfunding platform. The first part of the story of who was holding money. So here you have it, that if you look at the timeline, it's like, you might have gave the word out before you gave this press release. Just saying, some things to think about, right? The other part that gets me about this too is that the crypto side of it is actually the smaller denomination of what was able to be raised of the millions that they've raised. And so I think this is a very good example of why first tier countries and people who are used to first tier country financial institutions and, you know, accessibility and stuff did not have to appreciate the technology behind cryptocurrencies until an event like this happened. And Canada was arguably the perfect place for it to happen. So moving on, right? I'm gonna bring this to this next story. This is from Zero Hedge. Now, there's a company called Too Simple. They do autonomous driving technology company. There we go. It's a global autonomous driving company. They're looking to partner with Union Pacific Railroad. And if you don't know about them, Union Pacific is like one of the largest railroad companies in the US. I think they have like majority of the lines, right? This is a very interesting story because what's being talked about is that they're already doing some beta testing of having trucks run loads from the rails to other short distance locations. Now, in my previous life at one point, I was a truck driver. I wasn't an over the road dude, but I used to work out of Port Newark. And one thing that you know about or you learn about how things move in this country is either on wheels or it's on rail, right? And so this move right here, further down in the article, they talk about how they aren't doing full testing out right now or full integration of it. But come 2023, if everything plays out right, you'll see some trucks on the road because they're now they will then be going beyond like the 100 mile, 200 mile, 300 mile thing. They aren't doing major mile runs right now. Another interesting thing to note is back in the day, I want to say 05, around 07, Mercedes-Benz was testing out their driverless tractors in Australia. And I remember when I used to talk to the OG operators and like owner operators and truck driver stuff, and they'd be like, oh, that's never going to come here. We're not going to let that happen in the States. Lo and behold, here we are now. And I want to bring another point to connect this together in regards to protests and movements and stuff, right? So remember when we had in the States the whole thing about fast food workers getting a higher rate of pay, right? Everyone was all for it. There was all protests all across the country. Lo and behold, X amount of months later, what actually ended up happening? The rate did go up in some states, didn't do nothing at the federal level, but then X amount of people lost their jobs because they introduced more automated and more technology into the fast food industry. So you started seeing kiosks popping up in places. And I honestly think that this scenario is looking very similar to that. Like I got family members who are still truck drivers, right? So I'm hearing things about out west. Too Simple is not the only company that's actually testing out driverless tractors and driverless like heavy load tractor trailer stuff, right? So just saying, come 2023, 2024, I would definitely say by 2025, logistics and transportation in this country is not going to look like what it looks like now. That's just me and how I see it. Again, I used to be a truck driver, so I kind of have a little bit of understanding, but you know, not to dwell on that. Moving on to this next story though. This joint right here, I forgot what got me onto RT, but I just happened to see this. And I was like, wait a minute. I had to read through it to make sure I was understanding what was being said, that the founder who had the company that made the NFT for Jack Dorsey's first tweet on Twitter, he closed the company down. And in my mind, I was like, well, he closed the company down? What do you mean he closed the company down? Like, so what happened to all the other people? You just like let them go? It doesn't get into that in the article. But what really got my attention about this was when you read what quotes they use from him, he doesn't actually say NFT himself. He calls everything digital assets. And this is an interesting article because this was one of the things that was first brought up when the Dorsey's tweet was made into an NFT. The question was, who actually has that content? Who actually has the image of it? Is it on the servers of Cent or is it on the servers of Twitter? Now, since Cent, which is the company that made it close down, right? Who then, or better yet, is the post still worth anything? Is that NFT still worth anything? Or now is it just it's a post in Twitter? I don't know, but I also do find it funny that he was using the word digital asset and not NFT. Personally, I take NFTs as a technology. I think that the application of it in regards to this artistic sense of music or videos or written content is a use case, but it is not NFT as a technology itself. It does definitely help with provenance and like rights of ownership and stuff like that. But I also think that what we see going on right now is there is a blurring of the lines on the technical aspects of what make NFTs as we understand them, where you can buy, sell, trade, transfer to any and everyone you want in and outside of a marketplace, which Top Shot and like Vive and stuff like that, those are third-party custodial wallets that are not actually open marketplaces. And as an example of what I would argue is a digital asset versus a free true NFT. And arguably, there are things on OpenSea that aren't even NFTs in a sense. So I don't want to beat the horse down. Coming to a close, these are some things that came up on my radar that have to do with crypto, indirect way and indirectly. And so, hey, this is my two Satoshis. I'm Trek with 2Ks, my homeboy Crypto Blood. Once again, thanks for having me on. Let them know if you want to see some more of me. Also, this particular segment of my two Satoshis is brought to you by a homeboy right here who is also a fellow crypto person, and he's doing his own cigar line. I just recently got into the whole, putting smoke in the air. We all know that CB smokes his as he does. And then, like I said, my homeboy Dante out here doing this thing with his own line. This is called Cigar Recon. You can check out the website. Again, it is Cigar Recon, and he's pushing the ZD Maduro line right now. So you can order it directly from him, and he takes crypto. I'm just saying, it's kind of a win-win. It works right there. So if you bought that life, you bought that smoke, check out the website, order something up, and hey, put the smoke up in the air. So again, I'm Trek with 2Ks, and this is my two Satoshis. And so I'm gonna just leave y'all on that and just say, have a productive day of a busy day. One.
Who knew? Who knew?